Hello everybody, it's me, it's Budrich, and this is Let's Linux. I call this little episode lolban. More config rise. Alright, and I know I promised you in the last video that the next video I was gonna make was going to be about i3 run and that script, but when I was touching up the config file, I noticed some things that I would like to take care of before we start using i3 run. You will understand soon. So I felt I had to make this video because I'm thinking like this. If we're gonna use the same config file here, I have to tell you when I make changes to the defaults, and there are some changes I would like to do right away. But as you can see, I have made sections here now for everything, and I added some white space and deleted some white space to make it look nicer and more readable. And yeah, we can go to the different. It's very nice, and even if you don't use Sublime, this doesn't matter that I have these sections here. It will just be read as a normal comment by other editors, or even Sublime if you don't have the simple syntax package, which no one have because it's not released. It doesn't matter. But and I added this header here. This is just I just copy pasted the output of a lolban like this into the terminal. But other than that, I haven't made any modifications. But I did this, and I think it's not such a bad idea. I added all the default keybindings, and we might add other things here later that are in the default config file, but that I have either replaced or disabled. And the ones I have disabled are these ones and these ones, because the default config file comes with two ways to focus and move. You can use mod plus J to focus left, or you can use mod plus left to focus left by default. And this mod plus left, we replaced that with the i3 move command or focus command and the move command in there. But this one we never used, and I disabled them for now, but I will talk a bit more about this navigation system and stuff. But since they are duplicate, I move them here. And this is the floating toggle that we replaced with the i3-A floating toggle, and for that I also added a comment here, because that might not be clear when you look in the config file. What was this again? And it's the floating toggle. Okay, but other than that, this is basically the default config file with just floating toggle and tab switch added and some other stuff. Okay. One of the things I want to add right away, because it annoys me a lot, is this thing. You see, I have this terminal here in the background, and if I focus Sublime, it bounces up and down like this. It annoys me. They added this in the latest i3 version, I think. Before, I'm not 100% about this, but I think that in previous versions, when you hover with the mouse over a window like this, it would activate the window, but it wouldn't bring it to the top of the stack. So, but now it always brings the focus window to the top of the stack, and this can be really annoying when you have several floating windows, which I seldom do, but I don't like it. So to disable that, you just add this simple rule: focus follows, or is it follow, mouse no, and reload. And now if I go here, it doesn't, but now I have to click to focus the window, and when I focus it, it brings it to the top, and I just feel this is smoother. You don't have to add this rule if you don't want to. It's up to you. And another thing that I just can't get used to is this floating modifier. And floating modifier means that here floating modifier is set to mod, which is a variable here, to mod 4. And mod 4 is the super key or the Windows key. So when I hold that key, I can move a window with the mouse, and I can resize it with the mouse also by holding mod 4 and the right mouse button and drag like this. It's nice to be able to do this with the mouse, but I don't like to have mod 4 as the key. I prefer the alt key, alt, which is called mod 1. So now this is just personal preferences. I could also have changed this one to mod 1, but I prefer to do it this way. Okay, another thing that annoyed me, and that I also want to show you how to do, because it's a good thing to know. Here, Super Shift E to exit the nag bar. This is how you exit i3 by default. So you get this nag bar here. And here you can also see this annoying timer cursor. Even on this built-in default command, this annoying cursor shows. So first off, to get rid of that, and here this is important, but I tried this before. I replaced this exec here with my own exec, and since it's a double exec, it exited i3 without a warning, so we don't want that. So, but never mind, just put no startup, whoops, I hate autocomplete, ID, save, reload, and now if I run the nagbar command, we shouldn't get, no, we did get it anyway. Or maybe it is because it's kind of running here. I don't know. Whatever, let's keep it there anyways. But that's not what I wanted to show. It is this. You see, this is a very long line. I really don't like long lines like this, because sometimes by mistake your cursor might end up here, and then it's hard to read the config file or whatever. And even if I have a small font, it's too long. But you can divide lines just by adding a backslash where you want the line to end. And it's common practice to always indent lines that you cut off like this. So you can keep on doing that here for. We can chop it there. This is actually the command. We could make an exec and just i3 message as exit, and then it would exit without the nag, but whatever. If I save this now, reload, Win Shift E, see, it's still the same command. i3 reads this as one whole line when you backslash, but it's important that there is nothing. This would break it. You can, I think so. You can't have a white space or anything else after. You have to have line break after the backslash. So that's how you chop off or divide long lines. It looks a little bit nicer. It still looks ugly though. Could even put this in a variable. So this long command, I often do that if I end up with long commands like this. Whatever. But what I want to do now is free up some keys. You see here we have D menu. Default is super D. and super D, that's like prime real estate on your keyboard. That's a really good key. And sure, the launch, the menu to launch, the D menu or whatever launcher you have, it should have a good key binding. But here, super A focus parent. This, we don't need this anymore when we run i3.4. We never have to think about focusing parents and stuff. So this can be disabled. And then we get the super A, which is a really good key too. HV, split H and V, these are also, in my opinion, unnecessary when you use i3.4, the layout. Full screen, F, super, this is maybe the best key of them all after using space or return. This should be changed. SWE, these are very interesting and very useful in the i3.4. I will show you soon, but these can all be merged into one key instead of three. We have the floating toggle windshield, we can keep that. And then we have this, the Resize, super R, also a good key. And then we have the workspace switches. We will not touch that, but you could even do that. And then I commented out these guys. So let's talk a bit about this keyboard real estate thing here and why I want to do this before I use i3 run. Let's go to my homepage because I know I have an image of a keyboard there somewhere. Swedish keyboards. This is a Swedish keyboard layout, but it's almost the same. It's a QWERTY based. If you, let's go back. This might, for some of you, look weird, and it looks weird for all of us. This is a weird design decision by the i3 developers, because they like weird design decisions. Using J, K, L and semicolon to focus left, down, up and right. That might not make any sense to anyone. And J, K, L and semicolon is here. This is one reason why this is so stupid to have it in the default, because this doesn't work on a Swedish layout. But maybe, no, I think they read the Swedish, it's called something else. I have a US layout set by default. Or whatever. You can read this article about my opinions on the Swedish layout. It's totally unrelated now. But these keys, and then this is left, this is right, this is down, and this is up. This comes from, these are also prime, really good placement on the keyboard, because it's on the home row, the middle row of the keyboard. They are like the best, most accessible keys, the easiest keys to press, most convenient, and together with the mod key and these, it's very good. But usually movement like this is placed on H, J, K and L, and that comes from VI navigation, and VI is a extremely cool and good editor for that's been around for 40 years now. I think it's the newest version, which is 30 years or something. It's called Vim, but they use H, J, K and L, and this is very known by Unix people to use this kind of navigation, and many programs uses this. And this is because back in the days there weren't arrow keys on all keyboards. Often the keyboard looked like this, and or even smaller. There were no win key, sometimes there were no control key, whatever. But you definitely didn't have any arrow keys, so you had to put the movement like this. And I actually prefer to have them here than on the arrow keys. It's better, because then this is a much better placement, more ergonomic than using the arrow keys with your hand over here. You can keep your hands on the keyboard on the home row. It's perfect. So these should be used for navigation. But then all the other keys are free for us to use if we want to. And with i3 Run, the program that I wanted to show you and that I will show you in the next video instead, we will start launching applications with commands. And that's why I want to free up now in the config file, remove all the unnecessary, or in my opinion, not necessary commands. So we get these goodies here, like the classic PC game movement, ASDW. These are good keys, but basically they are all good, and especially the ones in the home row. And I like to use these for launching applications. I have this for Sublime text editor. I have F for browser. It's from old Firefox. Also, it's like the prime key, F. And D and A. D is music player and A is IRC client. So these are what I use. And then I maybe add a shift to have a different... I will show you later. And then I use Win key plus E, or super key and E, because back in the days I used Windows, and that's the shortcut to open the file explorer. So I use this, always set this to open the file manager on my Linux systems too. And the same with the super or Win and R, that opens, I like to have D menu on that instead, like the run command from Windows. I just think it makes sense. So that's what I want to do now, and I want to clean up the config and make room for these things. And in the next video we will set A as D and F, E and R. We can set R now in this video even. Okay. So let's get busy replacing, disabling some hotkeys. I will also show you now really quickly how we can merge those layout keys here into one. And I like these on the G key. But first let's disable the ones that we don't need. We can keep these. I also like to replace this, but it doesn't really matter now since it's with a super and shift, so whatever. This is a good key to have for the terminal. I like that. We can change this right away. I wanted the D menu on super R. I wanted the movement for H, J, K and L. We will do that later soon. This one, focus parent, disable. And disable, just comment it out. Split V, split H, disable. Full screen, super F. We wanted the browser here. I think it's a more logical... I seldom use this full screen, but if I would use F11, because F11 and super key. That makes more sense. It's often set as the default full screen toggle in many applications. Probably here in Sublime too, I'm not sure, but yeah. F11 without any modifier. This is not i3, it's Sublime. So super F11, that forces a window to full screen. And back. Let's wait with these. And also super R for resize. I haven't done any resizing with the hotkeys in this video, and by default i3 uses this mode. Maybe we should look at it really shortly. If I press super R now, no, press the wrong key. Super R, resize. You can see down here it says resize, and that means that we are in, when you get the little red square like this in default i3, it means that this mode is active, and then these keys are active. So now I can resize with yeah, let's use you can, it's the same thing again, J, K, L and semicolon and left, down, up and right, doing the same things. So if I use left now, it will shrink it. And I just press left and no modifier because I'm in shrink mode. And if I press return or escape, the mode will return to default. Modes are very powerful, but I like to do this in a different way. Let's disable this for now, but I will show you. We will replace all of these with a different way to handle it. And that's all the keys. Okay. This one was what I wanted to show you. Let's open some terminals. And mod shift space. Auto, now we use the i3 commands. Auto layout, you can see the pop-up there. Let's open some more terminals. Auto layout. And by default, auto layout goes into tab. So now we have 3 tabs here. We can just okay, 3 different terminals. If we super S, that will make this stacked instead of tabbed. So if we do that, now they're stacked. But stacking, I never use that. If you do, you can add it. You will see soon how you can merge everything into one. And yeah, S and W goes back to tab. And then we have this super layout E toggle tabbed split. I think I add, this is not default. By default it says just split here, I think. We fix that. Sorry for this. This is how it should look by default. And if I press E now, it will toggle into like normal split. And it will toggle between them. So, and this layout toggle, you can add several things here. So if we have, I like, this is what I like. Tab is like my main layout. And then split, but I add this instead, split H and split V. So now when I press super E, it will toggle between these 3 different layouts. I can save this and reload. Now super E. You see now it's tabbed. Super E. Now it's horizontally split. And now it's vertically split. Split V. And if I again, then it will go back to tab. So that's really nice. And this works like I can have, let's open some more terminals, and i3 4 move to B container. I can open more i3 4 move to B container. And then I can change now, if I press super and E here, it will toggle. You see this container stays the same, and I can toggle the splits here. And I think this is enough. It's not often that you toggle the splits, so having them on one single key instead, that frees up here now 2 good keys on the keyboard. But as I told you before, I like to have the file manager on E, so I changed this now to G instead. Okay. Now it's only the direction thing going, and for that, let's make some variables, because this is really nice to have in variables, because you might change the direction. Maybe you like the i3 default. We can call this DU, and that can be up. And then we have a down, D, and then we have a left, and then we have a right. I got a right. dir. Okay, so now we could replace in our move keys here, we could do this instead. Dir L. This would be the same thing since dir L is set to left. But I didn't want left, right, up and down arrow keys. I want the H, J, K and L. And then up is K, down is J, because J looks like a little arrow pointing down, and L is H, because H is the leftmost of the H, J, K and L keys. And maybe it makes more sense, oops, to have them like this. You following, right? So now we have variables here for direction, and then we can replace that direction in our keys here. We can start with the focus. Oops. Left, down, up, right. And then we have moving. That one, oops, I forgot the dollar signs, very important, otherwise it will not read the variables. We can actually copy this. I'm using weird Sublime stuff here. I think you understand what's going on, but I'm not going to explain this. I have plans to make separate videos for Sublime actually, and make some tutorials about that, because it's such a good editor. Left, down, up, right. Whoops. No. Sorry. Left, down, up, right. Okay. And now we can also, we don't need double. So we can comment these out, copy them, paste them here. I will paste more stuff here later. I don't know why I did this now. But still we need a key to enter this resize mode. But actually, let's get rid of the mode, because we could just as well whoops, or we should actually keep, yeah, I will delete the mode now, but I will add this to the disable defaults commented later. But now let's just make it like this. And then win. And then we can do this. And then let's move this resizing stuff to here. I just like it at the focusing and resizing. And now you see we have to focus, we just press super and the direction. To move, super shift direction. To resize, super control direction. So then we can use the same keys for all three actions here, just changing the modifiers. I think this is better, and now we have freed up a lot of keys to add our custom commands to instead. I get that this everybody might not like these defaults that I have here, but I just want to explain them. And of course you can if you want to use different keys, you can do that, and it's easy if you put them in variables like this. Then you can just change the directions. You could add a normal up down, left up, down right here instead, and then you would use the arrow keys in all focus, moving and resizing. So that's also a good use for variables. And now I think we are ready for the i3 run. Now the config file is approved by the Budridge. And also remember, we set the, because now this was a fresh session, and it loaded the split sizes that we set in the one of the videos. So pretty nice, pretty nice. Okay, next video I will show you i3 run, and I will also have cleaned up the config yet again, moved the defaults that we have disabled to this department down here and whatever. And then we continue our journey into making i3 crazy. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.